Hello, I'm Dr. Mike Taz. I'm a certified facilitator of the Refuse to be a Victim seminar. This is a personal safety course to improve your alertness to crime, and to try to prevent it in your lives. Now I've got a case for you today, a true story. Mr. K is a 73-year-old man in Colorado. One day there was a knock at the door. He went to answer it, he opened his door, storm door was closed. There was a 20-something-year-old man on the other side asking, "Will you let me in and draw a map for me? I'm looking for this store and I know it's around here someplace. I just can't find it." Now Mr. K may have thought it was suspicious that he was asking to be let in if all he wanted was a map. But nevertheless he said, "Wait a minute." He closed the wooden door. He came back with a pencil and paper and drew a map. As he was passing the map out through the storm door to the man pulled the door open, pulled a gun on Mr. K and said, "Let me in or I'm going to shoot." Now Mr. K afterwards said, "He didn't shoot me, and I don't think he wanted to shoot me, so I went after him." We'll talk about that in just a minute. He pushed the man back and the man lost his balance, but he's only 20 years old. He got his balance back again and pushed Mr. K down, and he actually hit his head against the sidewalk, and then he escaped in the car that his accomplice was driving at the curbside. Fortunately, I think Mr. K did okay. He wasn't hurt seriously, and he did okay. But there are questions that we should raise about this case. First of all, no law enforcement officer or personal safety advisor would recommend going after a person like that. If he can gain some distance, he would close the door, lock the door, and call the police. That's number one, and I think most people would agree with that. But what other options did Mr. K have when there was a knock at the door? Should he have just ignored it? Well, our recommendation in the Refuse to be a Victim program is never to let any ring of the doorbell or knock at the door go unrecognized. Why is that? Burglars may be casing a house, and if they have what they think is a good target, they will ring the doorbell to be sure there's no one at home. See, burglars don't want to deal with people. They don't want to run into people. They would just like to do their work, steal your belongings, and be out of there quickly. Robbers are different. Although they may not be planning to deal with people, they know how to deal with them if they run into them. They may actually take special delight in dealing with the people and victimize them. And unfortunately, the statistics say that if a burglary without anybody present turns into a robbery with people present, there's a 30 to 35% chance that those people may be victims of violence. So it should be recognized. You don't necessarily have to open the door, and we give you other ideas in the Refuse to be a Victim course, how to fortify yourself so that you're safer when you do answer that door. How about if Mr. K just answered him by saying, "You know, I'm just renting this place. I don't know anything about the geography. I can't help you." And they just step back and close the door, and then watch and see what would happen through a side window. That might have worked. How about if he took his iPhone out of his pocket and said, "Just in case something happens, let me get your picture"? Well, although that sounds technologically savvy, that probably is not a smart thing to do. If indeed the person completes the crime, he'll likely steal the iPhone or damage it so it could not be used. If Mr. K wanted to still be helpful, but he had his concerns about what was going on, he could have used distance as a safety factor. There's a rule we call the Rule of 21. And what it states is this, that the average person, including a criminal, can cover 21 feet in 1 to 1.5 seconds. If Mr. K wanted to pass out the map, and it was going to take him an estimated 2 seconds, he could have had the person step back 40 feet. "I've got a map for you, but I want you to step back." Step back, further, further, now stop. Open the door, put the map out, close the door, there's the map, you'll find your store. He could have done that. So these are other options Mr. K could have had. Now the question comes up is, after all these things were done, if this person was truly a robber, and he was still wanting to get inside the house, and he just pulled a gun on Mr. K on the other side of the storm door and said, "Open this darn door or I'm going to shoot." What were Mr. K's options at that time? That's for another discussion at the next meeting. I'm Dr. Mike Taz. I invite you to my blog site, www.drmiketaz.com, drmiketaz.com. I'm helping you with continued safety. I'm Dr. Mike Taz.